Okay, we are officially starting our group chat today. Welcome, everybody. And in this group chat, so I want to teach you guys some advanced negotiation strategies. And we'll do some general question and answer as well. But some of these strategies you may have seen on a previous group chat, but I think it's always good to reinforce it. And these strategies I learned from some of the top negotiators in the entire country that work in the highest labors of government. So I'm going to teach you some things that I've learned in an event that helped me and stuff that I use right now to run $1 million business. So I'll teach you guys some basic stuff, some simple strategies for negotiation, and then I'm going to show you real advanced stuff. Now, I want to warn you about the advanced stuff I'm going to teach you. The advanced stuff I'm going to teach you is so powerful, it can be used to manipulate people for good or bad. Okay? Now, if you're using it for good, that's okay. But you got to promise you're not going to use these things to do bad stuff because they are very, very powerful. Taylor says, Mr. Evil. No, I don't want to do that. That's the whole point. So, I want to make sure that you guys are great negotiators, but you don't want to be persuading people to do the wrong things. Okay, so here is let's go over some basic negotiation strategies first off. All right. Number one, guys, the keys to negotiating is first you got to make sure you have your appraisals down. All right. So let me open up like a Word document here so I can do some typing. And I'm going to use that like a chart, I guess, or something. Let me share my screen. Give me a second. All right. So number one, for negotiating, let's put negotiation principles. Oh, let's put the hierarchy of negotiation principles, okay? Because that's what this is really. It's like a hierarchy of negotiation principles. And that means is we're going to start off from the most important to the least important. All right, so the most important thing, does anybody know what number one is in the hierarchy of negotiation principles? Anybody take a guess? Taylor says appraising. That's correct. Someone says emoticon. Nope, not emoticon. Appraising. Okay, appraising and making correct offer. All right. So the first part is if, for example, we're starting to get people, let's say, offering us the iPhone XS Max. Everybody familiar with that new phone that came out, right? The new iPhone. I see a lot of people asking about appraisal questions and things of that nature. So if we're making an offer for, let's say, $250 for the iPhone XS Max, do you think having great negotiation skills is going to matter if we're making an offer that low? Grant says no. Richard says no. Grant says yes. Kevin says no, sir. So there comes a point where you just straight out insult people, right? And an iPhone XS for $250, the phone is currently selling for $1,000. So I would say that's a little bit of a low ball at that point, right? So that tends to upset people. Now, you might get some people that are quote unquote, you might call a sucker or gullible, but do we want to run a business based on only getting suckers? I don't think that's a very sustainable business model, and I don't think that's going to get us a lot of referrals and happy customers and repeat business. Would everybody agree? But also, we don't want to create a business based off us losing. So if you're offering $900 right now for the iPhone XS, then you're losing your profit to make somebody else happy. Basically, that's feeling like you need to offer more than you really should because that's what makes a happy customer. And that is incorrect too, okay? So both of those thinkings are wrong. Offering too little is going to offend the people, and then offering too much puts us out of business because we need to make a profit, and we need to make a good, healthy, reasonable profit, right? What's a healthy, reasonable profit? If we buy a phone for, let's say the phone appraises at $500, right? What should we make on that? I think it's fair on a $500 phone to make $150 to $200 profit. Would everybody agree on that? So it's okay to offer $300 on a $500 phone. I think most reasonable people, knowing for sure you're going to sell it for $500, as long as they understand how pawn shops work and things like that, they will accept the fact that you're going to pay them only $300. Okay. I'll give you a story really quick about, I bought my wife a brand new minivan this week, and we have 4 cars, right now. Well, one down because I finally got rid of one. And this is why I was getting at that. I've had a car sitting in my parking lot where I live for about 6 months now. And I just didn't feel like selling it. I've been, I'm just busy and it's not worth a ton of money. I just didn't feel like selling things. So I put it up on Craigslist. I didn't get a whole bunch of responses. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to call a junk guy and get this thing out of here. Now, the guy only wanted to give me $200 for my car. I know it's probably worth $500-600 at least to get rid of that thing. But I just wanted to get rid of the stupid thing. So I was like, yeah, come on over. Because my time is probably worth more and the aggravation to go sell that car on my own. I don't feel like people coming to my place and everything like that, especially with, where I'm at now in my business. I don't need to do that. So I took the 200 and I was happy. I would refer that guy and I would take it. So are these the type of customers that we want to have a business on? Do you want to have happy customers that are willing to let you make a good profit, knowing that you're running a legitimate business and are willing to refer people? Yes, that's what we want. Healthy, happy customers, okay? So in order to do that, we need to offer appraisals and making a correct offer. Now, if the guy said, I'll give you $50 for your car, I would have known damn well just by calling a couple other guys that offer was inappropriate and it was an insult. That guy was trying to just find suckers. And in that situation, I would have been offended and maybe I might have not said the best things about that business to other people that were looking to do business, okay? So we want to make sure we get our offers correct. We could do some appraisal drills. I've got like 20-something phones that need to be listed on eBay. So at the end of this, if you guys want to stick around for some appraisal stuff, you can watch me do some listings and we could do some appraisal drills together as well, okay? So I'll save the last 15 minutes if you want to just sit and watch me do appraisals and eBay listings. Okay, so that's the first thing, getting the appraisal right and making the correct offer. So now I noticed there's only a few people that are participating as I'm talking about this stuff, guys. So I want you to do me a favor, is even if you know this stuff, please participate and answer the questions, because the more you participate, the more it's going to sink in, right? And the more you're going to understand it. And if you don't understand it and you're not sure what's going on, please in the comments say, I don't understand this, Dave. Can you please clarify, okay? I want you to speak up, especially if you're not one that normally speaks up. Please speak up, okay? And if it's something that we get it, let's move on. Feel free to save that too. All right. So first thing, making your offer. The next one is now knowledge of your product. So the next most important thing here is we need to know, like, when we're negotiating, what type of items are we dealing with, all right? So if you haven't yet read up a little bit on the new iPhone, the new Samsungs are out, this may be costing you business, because when customers are calling you up and they're asking you questions or they're telling about this and you don't even know that this phone exists, well, you might lose a deal, right? Because people want to do business with a competent business person. So the reason why I call this a hierarchy, I spelled it wrong, of negotiation principles is these rank in order of importance. And if you notice that none of these have anything to do with sales ability or communication skills, right? The most important, this is probably 80%, this first part, and the rest of it is the other 20%, all right? Just getting the offer right and some basic friendly communication will get you a lot of deals. So this is how important this is. What's knowledge of your product? Can you guys all give me examples of knowledge of your product and what that means? Everybody, please type in the chat. What's an example of knowledge of your product? Gigabyte capacities of phones. Okay, yep, that's a good one. Knowing the features of the iPhone XS. Okay, that's good. Different size Apple Watches. This is good. Asher says understanding basic use of the phone and feature. Yes. See, here's the thing. So Asher kind of nailed it there, because maybe we can know what type of Apple Watches are out there. Maybe we can know all the features of the iPhone XS, but I don't think the customers are going to lose faith in us if we don't know every feature of an iPhone XS or we don't know every model Apple Watch, because that's not realistic, right? It's an unrealistic expectation. But I think they can fault us if we don't know what Find My iPhone app is and how to reset it, right? Like, how many people here can walk a customer on the phone through removing Find My iPhone on the phone? If you can't, that is definitely costing you business, okay? Because that's knowledge of your product, and that's a basic function that all iPhones have. So if you can't walk someone through Find My iPhone on the phone to remove it, then you may be struggling. Same thing with the Google lock. Also, knowing when you get there if it's a cracked LCD. If it's a cracked LCD, can you still buy it like that? How do you remove the Find My iPhone remotely without using the phone? Does everybody know that's possible? That you can remove the Find My iPhone on a phone that you can't see the screen on? That's also possible. That's called a cracked LCD when it's black and it has dots and stuff like that, okay? Richard said, I'm practicing this right now. Okay, excellent. So guys, by the way, really quick, just give me some real quick feedback here. Is this helping you guys, or am I kind of going too basic? You need to just get into the more psychology. Like, let me know if this is like, you know, good to know. Grant says a little basic. This is helpful. Yes, helping. Too basic. Okay, it's like a mix. So I won't spend a lot of time. Grant says it's good. Okay, I'll go faster through this, and we can go into the psychology stuff a little bit better. All right. So number 3 is communication skills. Oops. So your communication skills is how you speak to the customer. All right. Now let's talk a little bit on communication skills, and I think this is really important. Let's get into the actual psychology of negotiations. All right. So there's 3 reasons that motivate someone in order to strike a deal with you. So let me stop sharing here, and I'm gonna get my screen here and put my awesome drawing abilities to use. Okay. And we're going to have a triangle. There you go. One of my hobbies is drawing. As you can see, I'm an excellent artist. And so there's 3 things that cause someone to want to do business with you, okay? Does anybody know what those 3 things are? Can anybody take a guess? The 3 reasons someone will make a decision with you. Emotional. Yep, someone said it. Good job. There's an emotional decision. Yeah. Logical. Excellent. So you guys paid attention. You remember this one. Logical and intrinsic. Intrinsic is the next one. Okay. And what does that mean? Okay, let's talk about what these 3 things are. Okay. So someone will do a deal with you because they on an emotional decision based on the fact of these reasons, right? Please, you are intrinsic in a sentence. Yes, I can show you what this means in a second. I'll explain what these all stand for. So emotional would be like, have you ever done something for someone because it made you feel good? Like you knew that they might have gained more than you out of doing this, but you did it because you felt good about it. You wanted to help someone. You wanted to do something nice for someone, so you did it, right? Has anybody helped a friend move because you wanted to help your friend move? Or maybe you just did something nice for your mom because you wanted to. Or maybe someone did something nice for you and you felt obligated to do something nice back for them. Zach says, I'm not nice. Okay, well, that's something that could cost you deals. And that's why we want to work on this, right? So guys, if you find the emotional, oh, he says, I'm just kidding. Well, sometimes I see course members that aren't the nicest, and I've seen some text messages that they're not necessarily the most friendly from some people closing deals. So this is sometimes a problem, okay? Now, what would cause a negative emotional thing, right? So what if, has anybody done something just to spite someone because you feel they wronged you? Has anybody ever even almost hurt themselves just to hurt somebody else because you felt wronged or pissed off, right? We all have. Taylor says no one is going to buy your phone for that. So like, here's how this can go wrong. If you piss someone off in a negotiation and you insult them, or they don't feel that you have their best interests in mind, or you're not being fair, okay, which is another psychology principle we're going to talk about, they may close down and shut you off just because they don't like you. Even where you could have had a deal, I've had a lot of deals in the past where I've looked at the text negotiation and I was like, oh no, and I see how the other person talked, and then when I went in and I talked, I was able to close the same deal that person lost. And why? Because it was emotional. The other person didn't feel like they were being treated fairly. They didn't feel nice, okay? So fairness is a very, let's make another box here. Okay, and we're going to talk about this is called the bias of the brain. Okay? This is our brain. We're going to put Bias of the brain. What that means is biases are little shortcuts our brain makes to make decisions, okay? And one of those biases is called Kantian fairness. And what that means is we all feel like we want things to just be fair. It means yes, I know it's an ugly box, Paul, thank you. I told you I'm an aspiring artist. This is my certain technique that I use. But anyways, yeah. Fairness is like people just want to feel that this is fair, okay? So whenever you're closing a deal, how many people here have used the line, is that fair? Like, I could do 100 on that. Is that fair? Or I could do 10 bucks on that. Is that fair? All right. It's hard to argue emotionally when you're trying to be fair. Okay. So it's important. It's why we want to use the word fair, because that emotionally makes them feel like you're working with them at least on their side in your best interest. If I just say, it's 10 bucks. Can you do 10 on it? They're like, well, wait a minute. That's not fair. They get mad. Right? Now, it's okay if I say, is $10 fair for you? Well, no, not really. I don't think that's fair. Now, at least I can understand why they feel it's not fair. And I have something to work with. Is this too complex for you guys? Do you guys understand this stuff? Understand. Okay. Yes. It's good. Okay. So when you're negotiating, okay, and has anybody dealt with an emotionally charged seller where they feel like they're almost like being aggressive to them? How much you gonna give me? How much you gonna give me? What? You're only gonna give me 100 bucks? Dude, screw you, man. Screw you. Go to hell. And has anybody ever dealt with that? Everybody's saying yes. Okay. So that's a very emotional person. Now, we can choose how we react to that, guys. Okay. So Stephen Covey, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, says between stimulus and response is freedom to choose. So what that means is, when someone responds to us emotionally, we can choose to respond back in an aggressive manner, or we could choose to respond back in a caring, emotional manner. How many people here are guilty in choosing the wrong one? Anybody respond the wrong way to an overly emotional person before? We all have, right? We're human beings. If you haven't, you might not be human. Okay, but now, as we get better, we realize that responding back to them is a good thing. Now, there's two things. There's passive aggressive, there's aggressive, and there's assertive, okay? Now, here's the different types of negotiators that I see, okay? An aggressive negotiator would do this. So the person says, can you give me, so you say to the person, can I get I'll do 100 bucks for you. And the person says, $100? Are you out of your mind, bro? I paid $500 for this phone. And you're like, well, I got to make a profit. So there's not a lot of profit there, with that $100 between because I'm only going to be able to sell it for 150. So I can't give you 500 on it because, it's only worth 150. So you're being aggressive. You're arguing with the person, right? You're reacting with emotion. That's aggressive behavior. Then there's passive aggressive negotiators. A passive aggressive negotiator is someone that just doesn't respond back or gives a very weak, timid response. So the person's like, what are you, out of your mind, bro? Only $100 for this phone? I paid $500. And they're like, oh, I'm really sorry. I have to make a profit. I apologize. I can give you 120. Is that okay? That's a very passive response. Okay. Which also is not effective because it doesn't get what we want. And also that person feels like we're still taking advantage of them because it feels like we're trying to manipulate them. Okay, because we're being too nice and we just raised our price without any justification. So that's not an effective negotiation tactic either. But an assertive negotiator, okay, remains calm no matter how emotional or aggressive the other person gets, and they put themselves in the other person's shoes. They have empathy, and they use the rule of fairness to say, okay, I totally understand what you're saying. I understand you want the 500. What do you think is fair? Well, I think like 300 is fair because it's only 2 years old. I totally understand. The only thing is I'm on eBay right now and I see most of these are selling for about $200. So I would love to give you that 300, but the problem is I wouldn't be able to make any money there. So I'd love to give you that 300, but at running a business, is it fair if I offer you 100? I can't accept that. It's just too little. I paid so much for the phone. I just can't accept that. I totally understand. I know it's tough. You paid a lot of money for this thing and you want to get as much as you can, right? It's like, you spend all this and now you're only getting $100. But the problem is, it's just, I wish I could put more. Maybe I can buy something else that you have. Would that work? I also buy laptops, cameras, tablets, iPods, smartwatches. Do you have anything else? Maybe I can't give you more on the phone, but maybe I can buy something else and help you raise more cash. Would that be fair? And again, I'm pressing on the fairness. Would that be fair? Okay. Does anybody have a question on that? Does this make sense? Right. After I break this stuff down, we can go through a couple chats and kind of use some of these principles to show you how we can apply them better in order to close. Kevin says, I struggle saying this on text because you said you don't want to write a long paragraph. Okay, so guys, this is why it's very important to have the confidence to call people. Okay. It is hard to say this on text, guys, but it's also hard to communicate on text and have emotions. So if you're afraid to do this on text, that could cost you money, right? So if you want to close every deal on text, you have to figure out how to say this stuff in a short way. And here's the thing. You can choose to increase your closing average or bring in more leads. So if you bring in more leads, you don't have to be as good. You can do all text. And then you can give short responses. For example, like I could do 200 on that. And they say something like, well, I can't do 200. I need 500. I totally understand. I'd love to help you out, but I can only do 200. And that kind of still at least satisfies their emotional level, but it keeps it short and sweet. I totally understand, but I can only do 200. Okay. And they say, well, can you do 250? I would love to help you out. Unfortunately, I can only do 200. You give them a nice short response like that. All right. But Pawan says copy and paste because you can actually take some of your responses from other texts that work and then copy and paste them into your text. All right. I think you have to have these deals first. I think it's important to close, to be able to close some of them, put every effort you can, and then just use those as like a template to close the rest of them. All right. Now you guys can apply these principles to text or call. I wanted to break down the psychology so you have an understanding of why we do what we do. And I think that's important, right? Because I could tell you just say this, but if you don't understand why we're saying this, I think you may struggle a little bit more. Kevin says, yeah, I think I need to call because when I say I can't do what they want, they don't respond. And that will happen with text, unfortunately, because it's very easy to just disappear. With a phone call, it's a little bit more commitment. How many people here do a phone call and a text? Like they'll text, and then as soon as they see a little bit of action going on, like there's some interest, they'll get on the phone call and call them. Has anybody done that technique? It's very, very effective, and most of the people that I've had do that have gotten good results with it. Zach says occasionally. Asher says me. Yev says yes. Ahmed says text and call. Okay, so I notice a lot of the members that are doing some good numbers are texting and calling. For the members that are doing like 5, 10,000 a month, 15,000, 20,000, they're using kind of a blend. All right, let's get through this. Zach says, "Damn it, Aaron." Aaron is doing amazing. He's crushing it. Yeah, and Aaron gets a lot of leads, right? So he's using short copy paste scripts in order to close deals, and he's getting massive amounts of leads because he's advertising on all platforms. So that's another way to combat it, right? For example, if you only have 10 ads on Craigslist, you're probably not going to close a lot of deals no matter what because you don't have enough leads coming in. But if you got 50 ads on Craigslist, you've got 10 ads a day in Facebook groups, you're putting an ad on Marketplace every day, you're posting an ad on Letgo every day, and you're doing all the platforms like that, you're going to get better results than a negotiator who doesn't do that. Okay? How many people are following that program? How many people here are posting on like all platforms every single day and getting tons of leads coming in? Aaron says here. Sean says yes. Richard says posting every day. Grant says me. Asher says me. Okay. So just really quick, I'm going to move on from this because I don't like to talk too much theory. We can get into some real text examples, but I just want to do this. Zach says, offer up and let go, don't stick for me. Richard says, so by the way, Aaron has a lot of good, because Aaron is amazing at the apps and he does fantastic. If you go to nextlevelphoneflipping.com, he has a lot of free videos there to give you advice, and there's free videos in the course about the apps. If you haven't watched those yet, I definitely recommend them. They're very good, and Aaron gives clear, specific advice on what to do on those and how to avoid like your ads getting flagged and things like that. Okay, so if you haven't watched that stuff yet, definitely go watch some. I'll type it in the chat here. It's www.nextlevelphoneflipping.com. Okay, and you can just go to the free video section, and he's got stuff right there that you can check out. Okay, so anyways, getting back to this, guys. So the three things we have: emotional. Next is logic. Debbie says, yes, it works. Mine stick at the apps. So thank you, Debbie. She looks like she's watched the videos and they were helpful. So logical is just offering the numbers, right? If the numbers work, it makes sense. So logical people, you can give a very short answer. You know, logical people, you can give like, I can do 150 on it. Is that good? And they might say, can you do 170? Your response to that one could be, could you do 155? And they say, okay, fine, deal. That's a logical transaction there. Now, that's probably 40%, 50% of your deals there is going to be logical. So even if you just have a bunch of leads coming in and you make correct appraisal offers and you say things in a nice way without getting overly emotional or anything, you'll probably close a good amount of leads. But if you want to close more, then you can start implementing some of the things like the emotional stuff and the intrinsic stuff in there. So intrinsic is this. Intrinsic is that person doesn't want to be embarrassed selling you the phone. For example, if they know that you're going to gloat because you made money on them, or if they get the feeling even that you're going to feel like they're a sucker or you won, then they won't want to sell you that because they don't want to feel like they got screwed. That's intrinsic. Okay, so whenever you're making the deal, you want to make the customer feel like they won as well. When you're buying the phone, the deal's not done until the cash is in their hand and you've got it and you sold it on eBay. So when you're there, make sure you make sure the customer feels good about that deal and be like, hey, I want to thank you very much. I greatly appreciate this. And if you ever have anything else, here's my business card. I definitely appreciate the business. And feel free to call me if you ever need anything. So people like to feel appreciated. They like to feel respected. This is very important. But a lot of people I see, they just buy the phone and here, man, here's your $200. Thanks. See you later. And now intrinsically, that customer feels like, oh, man, did this guy just take me over? Did he just rake me over the coals? Did he just screw me? There's all these questions going through their head. Okay. And that's at the end of the deal. Now, during the deal, they can feel the same way if we don't show them that we respect them and we appreciate them throughout the negotiation. Okay. So these three things, the emotional, intrinsic, and logical, can help us close a greater variety of deals and understand when we have those problems. Have you ever had a deal where you thought you should have had it, but it went away? Well, that could be, if you get better at these emotional, intrinsic, and logical deals here, then you can probably close those ones that are slipping out of your grasp. Because half of the deals you're going to get, as long as you make the right offer, you're going to get them, okay? Even if you're not a good negotiator. And honestly, I'll be honest, guys, my employees don't know this psychological stuff, and I don't have a lot of time to train them. So what I do is I just flood them with a bunch of leads, and I let them close half the deals. All right? So really, if you want to just, and we're averaging 25 to 30,000 a month right now. If you want to just steal my strategy and just flood yourself with leads, so even if you're a terrible negotiator, you'll still close half the deals. That's all you got to do. Just figure out how to get lots of leads. And honestly, that will help you more than anything. Richard says, do you find Craigslist customers less demanding and easier to close than Facebook customers? At this point, I find anybody I'm able to close, but sometimes Craigslist customers can be a little easier, but I find it's a slippery slope to label leads as good leads or bad leads, because that makes us prejudge the phone call. And when we prejudge, we assume things which are going to cost us the deal, right? So I don't like to prejudge my leads, because then that makes me a bad negotiator, because I'll think, oh, well, this guy, he's from Facebook group. Oh, he probably wants too much money. He's probably going to be just like everybody else who wants more than they should for the phone. And when I start assuming all that stuff about the person, it closes my mind off from these three things and being empathetic and understanding to that person. So they might say to me, well, Dave, I want $500 for my phone, right? Well, what they're doing is they're using what's called the contrast bias, and they're anchoring me. Okay, there's a thing called the contrast bias. And a lot of phone flippers get, they get caught up in this bias, and they get won over on customers using this against them, okay? So here's what anchoring is. Anchoring is when I say to you, let's say you sit down at a restaurant, and the guys, it's a beautiful restaurant, you're having a great time, and the guy says, we have steaks here on sale. You can get a filet mignon right now for only $5. Right? And you say, wow, $5 for a filet mignon in a beautiful place like this? This is fantastic. And then he comes back and he goes, I'm so sorry. Today's my first day on the job. That steak is actually $50. I apologize. How pissed off are you? How many people would almost walk out of the restaurant because of that? Maybe you wouldn't walk out of the restaurant, but it would probably spoil your experience quite a bit. Now, even worse if they advertised that price on the window and then said $50, okay? But how about this? What if they said, that same guy now says to you, our steaks are $55. And he comes back and he goes, I'm so sorry, I made a mistake. My manager said they're actually only $50. I apologize. Now, what is your chance of buying that steak, even though $50 for steak is a very high price, right? Does your chance of buying that steak go up or down if he did it that way? When he starts off at 55 and then drops it to 50. It increases, right? That's called anchoring. It's a bias in our brain where we attach one number to another. And people anchor you when they do things like this. I have a iPhone 6S, right? Now, we all know a 6S is only worth about like $200 right now, $240, around there, right? I don't know the exact appraisal, but it's $200. And the customer anchors you like this. They say, yeah, I was looking to get $400 for it. That's called anchoring. Now you are anchored by them going, oh, damn, $400, I'll never close this deal. Who feels that way when someone when the customer gives you a high number that you know you'll never be able to get close to? Who feels like demotivated to close that deal? Anybody? Jesus says me, Richard says me, Joseph says me, Asher says literally me all the time, Tyler says me. That is called anchoring. What they're doing is they're psychologically tricking you because they're starting super high, so you think that's what they really want. Now, how many people here, anybody guilty, right, of wanting to do, let me change this the view on this. Oops, 1 second. Anybody guilty here of walking into, let's say, a car dealership or negotiating, and you lowballed them knowing they weren't going to take that deal, but you knew that if you started off low, at least they probably would feel bad? Has anybody ever done that? These customers do the same thing to you, but the problem is we take it as like concrete, like, oh, they really want $400 for the 6S. Does anybody think here they'll ever be able to get $400 for their 6S? Anybody believe that? Probably not. There's no way. Nobody's going to give them that money, and they're not going to be able to sell it on their own for that. So their reason is not logical. It doesn't make sense. But what happens is we get beat down because of this anchor, so we react. We go, oh, that's too much. I couldn't do that for you. Sorry. And we don't even try to close them at that point because we're so anchored that we just give up. Oh, well, I could never do that, so forget it. And I've seen people, I've seen text messages that phone flippers have got when someone offers that much, and then they don't even respond back because they're like, well, there's no hope closing this deal. I'm going to forget it. But I've gotten people that wanted $500 for like a brand new, let's say, iPhone 7 or iPhone 8 or whatever, and I've got them to agree to $100 when they started at $500. Okay? I know for a fact that you can close these people at way lower than their original thing, as long as you don't let them anchor you. As long as you know the psychological bias, then you can be prepared to understand, like, wait a minute, okay, they're trying to anchor me. I'm not going to let them. And you could say, oh, $500, okay, that's cool. I could do like 100 on that if that works. Now, a lot of people are very scared because of this anchor bias. Well, Dave, if they offer me 500 and I offer them 100, they're going to be so pissed off. So out of fear, we don't make the offers that we really should. Okay? Can anybody relate to this? Anybody have made these mistakes or done this, not tried as hard because they anchored you? And guys, that's going to cost a lot of deals because we're just going to give up. And they don't really need that much money, or they'll never get it. They want to sell their phone. Okay, so they're just trying to do whatever they can. People will try to get away with what they can. They want to do. Now, here's how we can use the anchoring bias to our advantage. Okay, we can anchor them with the low ball. So when someone says, I have an iPhone 7, and you say, I could do 100 for it. Is that fair? And they say, oh, 100, I wanted to get at least 300. Oh, geez, I'm really sorry to hear that. That's kind of tough. I'd be happy to work with you, but I don't think I could come up with that high. Could you do like 105? And boom, now I'm anchoring them. Because see, what I just did was, they're like, holy shit, he went from only 100 to 105, and I'm at 300. What does that psychologically tell that person when I do that? They're like, in their head, they're thinking, this phone must not be worth even near 100 if he just went from 100 to 105. They make their decisions on our actions. But most people don't realize in negotiation that they actually talk themselves out of the deal. Because this is what typically happens, right? The customer says, we say, oh, I could do 100 bucks. Is that fair? And then they say, oh no, I want 300. And we get afraid, and we go, oh, 300. You know, they're anchoring us, and we go, I couldn't do 300. You know, I could maybe do like 150, 160. And now what does the customer think? Like, wow, he just jumped 50 bucks on the second offer. I bet he can go to 250. Okay? What would you think if a car dealership was selling you a car, and let's say the car is at 20,000, and you said no, and the guy immediately on the first offer was like, well, 20,000 is not good. I could drop it to like 18,000. You'd be like, how much profit are they making on these damn cars? Are they just like making these sticker prices up? Like, and he might genuinely be at like invoice price, but we know that most people won't just do that. And even if they do, we don't like believe them. It's not real. We're like, wait a minute, why is this person going so low? So when we anchor them and we have the courage to just kind of increase our price a little bit, this actually increases our chance of closing the deal because it seems more real to the customer. All right. And a lot of people don't think like this. They think that that's going to actually hurt their sale. Because like, Dave, I only, went up $5. They're going to get mad at me. No, because they don't really know. If they're that unreasonable, they want $300 for that phone that's only worth, let's say, $200, then they're not educated in the first place. They're just going by how you respond. So we don't want to respond in a way that makes them think we can give them even close to what they want. Okay? And we don't want to feel bad. We want to remain emotionally calm and know that that's just a trigger they're using. I'm not going to get scared or afraid or nervous because they said 300 and I can only offer 100. I'm just going to say, okay, I can do 100 on that for you. Oh, I wanted 300. Oh, geez. That's a little tough. I'm not sure if I could do that for you, but I'd be happy to do 100. And sometimes just saying that and then looking like, oh, wow, he wasn't even phased. They're like, now all of a sudden they're starting to change their mind a little bit. Like, oh, wow, that guy doesn't seem like he's going up. Maybe this phone really is only worth 100. And then they say, oh, can you do a little bit more? Can you at least do 200? Look, I really would like to give you a little bit more, but I could do like 105 for you if that works. Is that fair? And they're like, geez, this guy's not budging. And if you can get someone up to 4, 5, or 6 no's like that, you're going to find your closing average going way up. Most people are not going to say yes on the first deal, but that's what a lot of phone flippers expect. They expect that, they're going to make an offer, customer's going to say yes or no, and that's concrete, and that's it. But that's not correct. If you want to close a good amount of deals, sometimes you have to get the customer to say no. There has to be an objection. 4, 5, 6, 7. I've had even 10 times where the customer says no, and we finally came to an agreement. But the thing that's important here to remember, guys, is it has to always be on the same side as the other person. It can't be a battle. It can't be a battle of wits. It has to just be a conversation. You guys are working together towards something. Can you do 300? Oh man, I'd really love to help you out. I want to do 300 for you, but I can do 100. Does that work? 100. That's way too low. I can't do 100. Can you do at least 200? Oh, I'd really love to help you out, but I can't. Unfortunately, at my prices, the best I could do is $100. And you don't have to explain a lot either. So when you're doing through text, you don't need to explain every little thing. Sometimes it is okay. And I recommend this, especially if you're a beginner to intermediate negotiator. I would actually say it's better to just, practice the short way first. Okay. And practice not talking too much, because you may just talk yourself out of deals by saying the wrong thing. All right. Who's finding this helpful, guys? Is this like hitting any spots that you think you guys can work on? We can go break down some actual text now, so you can see how I can use examples of where we went wrong or not in this. But I wanted to just teach you guys a few psychological principles, because we do the same stuff every week, so I figured give you a little bit more advanced stuff. All right. So there's this course member who sent me some text that he did earlier today, and let's take a look and see what those texts were and what we can do. All right. So this is Asher, and here is, we got quite a few here. I stopped short. Let's go up to, here's the first one he sent me. All right. So let's take a look at here. He said, how much for an iPhone 7 and an iPhone SE? So he says, these are great phones. What carrier and condition are they both? iPhone SE is Straight Talk. iPhone 7 is AT&T. Okay, so does anybody know where Asher went wrong with that one so far, guys? Okay, so what I want to say first of all, Asher, is that you did, if you're watching this right now, I'm not sure if you're there. I think you are. But if you're here, you did a good job with it being friendly. Okay, you said those are great phones. What carrier and what condition are they both? The biggest problem is that you're trying to negotiate both phones at once. And I think if you're a beginner negotiator, that's probably a mistake. I would try to stick to one phone at a time, because Asher, you can unmute yourself actually so we can talk a little bit if you'd like. I think negotiating one phone at a time is going to help you keep the customer focused. So if they say how much for an iPhone 7, iPhone SE, make an offer. Okay, what carrier is the iPhone 7? Like, just get them refocused on one. What carrier is the iPhone 7? And they say iPhone 7 is Verizon. Almost just get them to forget about the other phone for the other second. Ash, are you there? Are you able to unmute yourself so you can talk?
Yeah, can you hear me, Dave?
Cool. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. Thanks. So what happens here, right, is when we start working on two things. You remember in the beginning of this group chat, I said the man who tries to catch too many rabbits catches none, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is now we're trying to negotiate two things at once. So let's say one deal is good, but the other one's not. It could just emotionally spoil them, right? Remember the emotional part of the negotiation triangle? So they might feel like you tried to screw them on one, and where you would have had a deal on just the other one if you had just focused on that, it ends up spoiling it because you try to get greedy and do two at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes sense.
What you want to do?
I see that now.
This is a good question. Someone asked you start with the more expensive phone or the least. I think you start with the phone that you think you'll be able to close the easiest. All right? Because once they say yes, there's what's called the consistency bias. This is another thing. Okay? The consistency bias is where people feel like when they made a decision, we're very egotistical. We feel it's the right decision. So they have a need to continue on with that decision. So if you get them to say yes to one phone, what does that mean they're going to more likely be willing to do?
Say yes to the other phone.
Say yes to the second phone, right? Okay, but if we try to do two at once, it doesn't work the same because we need one commitment to move on to the next commitment. But we can't say commit to two. It's too overwhelming and it's a lot of pressure on the customer, all right? So this is the emotional part of the triangle, and I'm trying to relate this psychology I showed you guys to the text, all right? So what I would have said, Asher, was right here is just, the iPhone 7, cool. What carrier is that? Or what carrier and condition is the iPhone 7? He says something like, it's in good condition, it's an AT&T. You could say something like, okay, great. For the iPhone 7, I could do $100. Is that fair? And then you take it from there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's going to help me so much. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. No problem. And it just simplifies things so much easier for the customer. And then if it's not good, then you're not battling two different things. You're battling just one phone at a time. And he might say, oh, I was looking to try to get at least 130 for that one. So you won't know that if we try to do two phones. Because, like, let's say you make a bulk offer. Oh, I can give you 300 on both of them. let's say he would have been okay with $100 on the iPhone 7, but the other one, the iPhone 8 or whatever, he wanted to get more money on, so now he's upset. We don't really find out that information because we're not separating it. So I know you understand, and that was helpful. I just figured I'd kind of break this down even a little bit more so you guys understand why it's really crucial to just do one phone at a time. So let's move on to the next one. You still there, Asher?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. Let's move on to see some other things we can do to improve. And thanks for volunteering. I appreciate it. And, and putting yourself out here and let me use this because it's very helpful for everybody. So he says,
hey, no problem. Thanks for helping me.
No problem. He says, that's how much my phone costs. And you said, I totally understand. It is a great phone. How much are you looking to get for it? Now, here's the problem. One, I can tell you're using a script, okay? And that's good you're using a script, but the problem is when customers tell we're using a script, how does that make them feel emotionally?
Like we don't really care about their devices as much.
Yeah, it feels like they're just a number. They're being taken advantage of. They're just moving along. Let's plus, like process them through, and nobody wants to feel that. So that hurts them intrinsically and emotionally. And remember the triangle, the emotional, intrinsic, and logical? So we're always speaking of logical, but we're not facing that emotional, intrinsic thing. Number two is he said, that's how much my phone costs. See, here's the problem. We're trying to negotiate two phones, and we don't even know what he's talking about with that, how much my phone costs, because we're trying to deal with two different things. So it's confusing to you and the customer. You see how that happened there? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I should have just sticked with one.
Also, you said, I totally understand it's a great phone, but there's two phones being talked about here, which makes them seem like, dude, are you a robot? Like, am I talking to a person here, or am I talking to like one of those chatbot things? Because it feels like, and I don't mean like, are you a robot? It's like I mean like literally, he's wondering if you are like some kind of chatbot messenger thing, because there's a lot of those out there nowadays, and people don't want to deal with those. They kind of want to feel like they're dealing with a human. Does that make sense? Especially if it's on Craigslist or Marketplace or Facebook. So
yeah.
So be careful, guys, when you're using the scripts, because you could end up offending people, or you could lose the deal emotionally with that stuff. All right.
Hey, think maybe can you go 2 to the left real quick?
Okay. So it is a different seller. So I'm not sure. Maybe these are just out of order.
Yeah, they may have said out of order, and that's my bad.
Let me see if I can find. Oh, okay. So wait a minute. Did we have? Oops, I lost it now. We have Lakeisha. Summer was the other one. Okay. So Lakeisha and Lakeisha. So she starts off. Okay, this one starts off here. Good. Thank you guys for pointing that out. It's good, I guess, either way to know this stuff, but still. It says, I have an iPhone 5 SE. How much could I get? And then you say, great. What carrier and condition? And he says, Metro PCS, great, excellent condition. Okay, great. I can put $30 cash in your pocket for that phone. Okay, so this was pretty decent, Asher, okay? So I think you're doing a pretty good job. But when you said, great, I can put $30 cash in your pocket for that phone, I want you to think intrinsically, how does that make someone feel, you think?
Well, they're probably immediately thinking their phone's worth a lot more than $30.
Well, let's say you walk on the lot and I'm a car salesman, and you say, I'm like to look at a car today, and I say, great, I'm going to put you in a new car and have you driving one home today. How does that make you feel?
A little controlled.
Yeah. Little assumptive kind of, right? Like, well, wait a minute. Why are you assuming I'm going to buy a car from you? I'm just looking, right? Like I feel like you're trying to take advantage of me. You're controlling me, right? So even though this is very friendly, by you assuming that she's going to say yes, you say, great, I can put $30 cash in your pocket for that phone. It's a very assumptive statement, which now intrinsically and emotionally could turn off the customer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And remember, it's not always the logical. Some people will say no just out of spite, and that's a lot. We lose a lot of deals because of that stuff, right? More than just the actual offer. So a lot of phone flippers only look at the logical. They really think customers are saying no to just the deal, and that unfortunately is not correct. A lot of people will say no just because they feel like they're being used, and what will happen is they'll call the next guy in the list and sell the phone for that same price that you would offer them just because the other person handled them a little bit differently. Make sense?
Yeah.
So instead of what do you think we could have said to make that a little bit better?
I should have said, hey, does $30 sound fair?
Yeah, great. Is $30? I could do 30. Is that fair? Something of that nature, right? And now
Yeah.
it's now you're not assuming, you're respecting your emotion, their emotion, and the intrinsic value. So, someone's saying, "Geez, Jave, check your emails." You know, I didn't even notice I have 77,000 emails. This is how busy I am. So if you guys ever like try to tag me in a post and I don't respond for a couple hours, you see why. So don't take that personally. All right. Anyways, so Lakeisha says $30. How about $3.50? Okay. Well, it sounds like what's Lakeisha doing to you there?
Anchoring me.
And Lakeisha is anchoring, right? Does everybody see what Lakeisha did? She's anchoring Asher on this deal by saying, how about $3.50? Now, is $3.50 any way at all realistic for an iPhone 5 SE? Has anybody ever seen an iPhone 5 SE for $3.50 in the last 2 years? I don't think so, right? Has anybody even sold one for $200 in the last year? I don't think so. So is good old Lakeisha getting that $3.50 for that iPhone 5 SE? Absolutely not. Okay, let's take a look at how Asher responded. And she said that $3.50, that's how my phone costs. So Lakeisha is under this false reality that I guess because when we buy something brand new, we can sell it for the same price used, right? Like, oh yeah, I just bought this car for 20 grand brand new. I guess I deserve 20 grand for a used, especially for a place that's trying to give me a trade-in, because that's how business works, right? No. So this is not realistic. She's just saying this stuff. So now you said, I totally understand. It's a great phone. How much are you looking to get for it? $250 is the lowest I'm going. Okay, so I think your response was good there. You know, you just acknowledged her feelings. That's how much the phone costs. I totally understand. It's a great phone. I don't know if I would say it is a great phone.
Okay.
I might have said, I totally understand. I definitely would like to would like to help you out today. How much were you looking to get for it? I don't, unfortunately, maybe even say something like, unfortunately, $3.50 wouldn't be a realistic price for me to give you, but I would love to help you out today. How much are you looking to get? So that way you kind of acknowledge her. You're not making her feel stupid for saying the $3.50, right? Mm-hmm. Because it is stupid, right? She's not going to get that for the phone. It's unrealistic. I shouldn't say stupid. I shouldn't use that word. I should say it's unrealistic. It's not attainable. And she's anchoring you. So I would say, like, I totally understand. Unfortunately, $3.50 wouldn't be realistic, but I do really want to help you and love to earn your business. Now you're making them feel appreciated, right? And respected, that you are a nice guy. You're trying to, you want to get something to work here. How much were you looking to get? She says $250 is the lowest I'm going. Now you said, I totally understand. How about $35 cash in your pocket today? Okay. So let's take a look at that. How does that sound to her?
Well, probably not fair, because she was expecting to get an unreasonable amount for her phone. Probably sounds pretty robotic, like, too.
So what we have to do is kind of use our empathy and see from the customer's point of view, why are they saying $250? That's what I want to know, right? Because I know at this point, we got her from $350 to $250. I want to know, what's the reason between her saying $250? So I might get her thinking at this point, because obviously, if she says $250 is the lowest I'm going, and you say, I want to put 35 cash in your pocket today, does that make her feel good?
No.
What do you think is the likelihood she's going to even respond to that?
It's probably not very likely.
No, I don't think anybody would at this point, right? So, because you're assuming, like, hey, stupid, I'll give you 35 bucks. Are you okay with that? It's very insulting to the other person, right? Because even though you feel like it's really friendly, in reality, it's just assuming that they're a lunatic for asking $250 and saying that. So we have to do things in a process. There's a psychological process, okay? And have you watched the video, the Stone Soup strategy?
Yeah.
So if you know about the story of the Stone Soup, the soldiers had to slowly work the villagers into giving them their ingredients for the stone soup. But if they had jumped to the ingredients, right? Imagine if the soldiers at the end of they said, well, I'm going to show you how to make a soup full of stones. Well, this is what we need. I need carrots, meat, barley, milk, potatoes, a bowl of stones. Would they have ever had their stone soup? No, absolutely not. They had to work the villagers through a psychological process in order to get them to finally give all the ingredients for the stone soup by little small commitments and getting them to understand. Okay. How many people here know what I'm talking about when I talk about the stone soup? If you haven't heard me tell the story of the stone soup and haven't watched that video, it's in the course, and I highly recommend that because it will give you a strong understanding of the psychological process of a customer and to how to close the deal. All right. So what we got to do in order to stone soup Lakeisha here is we have to figure out, Ashley, like what makes her tick. Why is she saying this 250? So what I would say to her is, so I totally understand that 250 is good. Have you tried selling it yourself yet? Or just out of curiosity, have you tried selling it yourself? Now, if she tried selling it herself, is she going to say, yeah, I've got offers for 250 already on an iPhone 5 SE?
Well, she may, but then just call her bluff on it.
Nobody is making a real offer on that phone, right? It's obviously,
Yeah.
we don't need to tell that, but more than likely, she's not going to get any offers for selling that on her own for 250.
Yeah.
So this gets her thinking. This is starting the stone soup process. Like, well, no, I haven't tried selling it myself. So there's two things that will happen there. I have tried selling it myself and nobody made an offer, or no, I haven't sold any. I haven't tried selling that myself. So let's go to I haven't tried selling it myself route. So if she says, I haven't tried selling it myself, now we know for sure that she doesn't really know the true value of her phone, right? We need to instill some doubt in her, in Lakeisha, because she's overconfident. She feels that she's entitled to this 250 bucks. So we have to start giving her little reasons to doubt her unrealistic expectations. And what we do is we start asking these little questions to get her thinking, right? So 250 is the lowest I'm going. Okay, just out of curiosity, have you tried selling it yourself yet? No. Okay. Because I'm not sure if you're familiar, but the market price for that phone right now is only $100. Did you know that? No, that's ridiculous. I know it is ridiculous. Unfortunately, that's what the market is paying right now. And then she might even say something foolish like, well then, okay, fine, I'll do 100. Now that's, believe it or not, some people would say that's a negative thing. But to me, that tells me I got a deal. Because what did I just do with Lakeisha there?
You just brought her down $150 from what she said was her lowest.
And I know for sure now she's willing to do whatever it takes to sell this phone. And I know I got that deal. So all I have to do is just stone soup Lakeisha through the rest of the process, slowly, without breaking rapport, and I got this deal. Does that make sense?
Oh, I love it. Yes. Yes, it does. I love it.
So basically, so when she says, well, give me 100 then if that's what people are paying. And I say, well, what I say next? Now I got to ask her a question. I totally understand. However, that's what the market is paying, but as a business person, I have to make a profit. Does that make sense? Okay, that makes sense. Then she might even say something foolish again, like, okay, well, give me 90 for it. Well, there are costs to doing business. You see how the stone soup works? We can always come back with something that makes sense as long as we stay in the game. And if someone gives us 10 objections, it doesn't matter as long as we stick with it and we continue to stone soup. So she might say, well, all right, give me $90, then you make 10. I totally understand, Lakeisha. I really want to help you. The only thing is there's also costs to running a business. And those costs make it so that I actually would lose money if I buy it at 90. So I want to help you out. Would $35 be fair? You see, we've brought Lakeisha now so far down the stone soup funnel that we're able to now get to that point. But if we offer that 35 in the beginning, she's just going to want to punch us in the face because she doesn't understand. She hasn't gone through the psychological acceptance of all these different things. And now she's finally educated to the point where we can close this deal. You can literally close almost 100% of people if you know the psychology and the stone soup method strong enough. My closing average is 9 out of 10 because I'm able to break this completely down into these little small micro commitments like that. Okay? Is that helpful to you? Like as far as this, do you have an understanding of how to kind of do that now?
Yeah, that's amazing. I really appreciate it, Dave.
Oh yeah, no problem. Let's break down just to example this a little bit more because I think repetition is important, right? Let's say she says, "Yeah, I tried selling it myself, but nobody made an offer," right? And
Yeah.
and then now, what does that do?
Well, that now she knows that you can tell her how much it's going for, and just show that it's not worth what she's asking.
No. What do I want to get her go? What do I want to start moving her through? Actually, what do I want to get her going through?
The stone soup process.
The stone soup process, right? So what it does is this triggers the stone soup process. It's when the soldiers say, okay, first we need some stones. It's like, well, okay, the villagers are like, well, stones are no big deal. We can give stones. It's not like we're giving our food up. We got stones all over the place, right? So again, it's a little tiny commitment that gets the process moving. So you say to her, have you tried selling it herself? That's like the soldiers asking for the stones, right? So it's no big deal. She can tell you that. Well, I tried selling myself. Did anybody respond? No. Okay, see, now we're getting her thinking in her head. Now she's thinking, well, oh, I guess, wait a minute. He's right. And we don't even have to say anything. She starts thinking, well, why did actually nobody respond? That's a good point. And all of a sudden, she starts figuring these things out for herself. We've moved her further down the stone soup. Now we're at like the carrots and the barley. She's not ready yet, but the process is starting, okay? So then we might say, well, you know, it might be because the market price right now is only 100 on those phones. So unfortunately, it could have been priced too high. Have you tried pricing it at 100 yet? No, but I don't really want to deal with all these people. Oh, okay. I understand. I really want to help you out. Would you consider 35? Would that be fair? You see how we moved her from that point now down the stone soup funnel to that point where we can close her. Mm-hmm. Okay? So a big mistake is people just try to skip the stone soup, and they try to go from getting the stones to the full-blown feast instead of moving people through the process. They want to just rush it and get it over with. But people aren't like that. People have to accept things, and it's hard for them to accept. Like if they're emotionally feeling like this phone is worth $350, it's emotionally devastating to realize that it's only worth $35 when they're asking for $350. That's like crushing to them. And they take out that anger on you, even though it's not your fault that that's all you can really offer, because the next guy's going to offer the same thing. But she's just going to keep bouncing from guy to guy on the phone and never sell her phone because of her own emotions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if we can ease people into the process using the stone soup, then we could do this. Now, Lawrence says that's how Hitler conquered Europe. Like I said, this stuff is extremely, extremely powerful. So please, anybody who's learning this, do not use this for any bad deeds, okay? This can be used wrongly, so I'm going to count on you guys to only do this for good, okay? It can be used for very good purposes in order to motivate people. It can be used to gain business, to build relationships, okay? But please do not use these things to manipulate other people and things of that nature. Do you guys want to do more text breakdowns? Was that helpful to go through all this and show examples? So someone asked about, let's see. Someone asked me about paid Facebook ads. I'm getting a lot of questions on that. And we do pretty good with paid Facebook ads. So let me ask you guys this, okay? Facebook ads is a very difficult, complicated thing, and I've spent thousands of dollars testing Facebook ads over the last few months in order to get it to work, okay? It's so complicated that it would be a full course, okay? I can't do one video on paid Facebook ads because it's not something that you can just do. You have to like test and spend money and things like that. If I was to create a course on paid Facebook ads for phone flippers, who would be interested in doing it? I was going to do a service, but I find that the service I don't think is realistic. We don't have the time to do it for other people. It takes a lot of commitment, and I don't have the staff for it. But I might be willing to make a course on paid Facebook ads if you guys are willing to do that, okay? If I do that, would you guys, what would you got, like what do you think would be a fair price on the course? Because I've spent a lot of money on it, and I want to help you guys give it to you for free, but I've spent over $100,000 for this knowledge. And I personally, I've spent, let me check, I'm going to check my own Facebook ads really quick, and I'll tell you what I spent this month on paid ads testing. So you guys know, like, I'm not, I've put my own cash into this, so to give it away for free, I don't feel like it would be fair. But let me just see really quick what we spent, and if we could come up with something fair, I'll make a course for you guys and to help you out and show you how I do it, if that's okay with everybody. And just see what everybody's saying here. See, Debbie says $2.95. Lafayette, what's the least you'd be willing to live with? Someone says we are all cheap, $5. Okay, don't anchor me. I know what you're doing. All right. So you can only do this. So from an emotional standpoint, guys, remember, I don't have to do this, right? I want to help you. So please consider that, right? And And if you could do something that is a win-win, I'm happy to help you guys out. Okay, I don't want to like withhold the information, but it's going to be a ton of work for me to make a Facebook ads post. I'll have to spend hours doing it, and it's something I paid my mentors over $100,000 to learn this stuff. So it's a lot to charge that. Let's see. So I've spent $11,000 testing. Okay, so to give you an idea of what it takes to figure this process out, some people have seen like they've tried paid Facebook ads and go, oh, this doesn't work. It does work. It increased our sales from 15 to 20,000 a month to 30,000 a month, but we had to spend some money in order to get there. And now I figured out the process. There would be no weekly calls with this, unless it's like if there's going to be weekly training and calls, I'd have to charge $1,000 for that because it's very time consuming to do these type of calls and training and things. I have to put effort. I have to make sure I'm there, and I have to focus, and I have to be motivated. And if I'm not able to get a reasonable price, that won't be there. So if that makes sense, I can do maybe just course videos. I'm thinking either $297 or $497, depending on how extensive it is. Would that be a reasonable price for you guys? Fair. And I'm not using a selling strategy, guys, on you. This is me just asking you, like, if this is cool, I want to help. Like, this is not like a money making thing. I'm not trying to just like make money off you guys, but it's like, this is beneficial and you want it. I'll do it as long as it's fair on both ends, and I'd be willing to do that for you guys. $297, is that fair? Everybody's saying $297. $297 sounds good. Paul says, hurry up. He's like fiending for it. Give me the course. All right. So in order to do this, guys, you need a website and you need a Facebook page. So I'd have to also include in the course like how to really important things on a website that you need, because in order to work, you need three things. You need your fan page to work, you need your website to work, and you need to learn how to use a good converting picture and ad copy. So there's a lot to it. The course will be pretty extensive. So I feel like $497 will be a little bit more fair price. If I show you in the course how to build the website, get it ranked on Google, and I give you examples of like what people do wrong with their website and what to do right, and how to copy a template and give you a template with the course that you just build and you make the website from that template, would that increase the value and make it worth $497 for you guys? If I give you like a website template and then I give you ad copy templates and text, would that sound good? Or is that too much for that? Colin's like, send me link. Anthony says Facebook ads to buy phones. Yeah, this is for paid Facebook ads, guys, okay? So this is not like Craigslist. This isn't Facebook group posts. Let me just clarify just in case anybody's confused by this. Paid Facebook ads is using Facebook Business Manager with the fan page and a website. It's very advanced. So if you're brand new, please don't even consider this. There's plenty of free ways to make money with this program, okay? So this is only for people that are doing probably $3,000 to $5,000 a month or more and just want to automate things and get more business. It's easy. Anthony says paid Facebook ads left a lot. I'm doing paid Instagram ads. Okay, cool. Paid Instagram ads are good too. I mean, they kind of work both ways. So you can do Instagram and Facebook together because, they're on the same advertising platform. All right. Well, we'll talk. Now I got some good information. If I know there's enough people interested, then we could do this. If you guys want to message me with some information and you want to motivate me to do it, that would help me. And maybe we can do this. I don't want to make this whole group chat a sales pitch. So we can go ahead and move on. Anthony says, damn, I wanted you to critique my ads. We can go ahead and do that for you. Actually, wow, it's 9:20. Let's look at Anthony's ads really quick, and then we can finish this up. Let's just do it 10 more minutes. So Anthony, are you there? Anthony?
I'm here.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Good.
Oh, sorry. I'm in my office. So. Hey. All right. Hold on. Just 1 second, really quick.
I see some of you guys are asking about transitioning this into a full-time thing. I think first off, don't try to just do this full-time until you're at like 10 to 20,000 a month. I wouldn't go full-time with this. It's not a full-time business until you really know how to scale it and you have consistency. Okay, so I don't have a lot of time to answer that very thoroughly, but I hope that gives you like a good short kind of template to follow a little bit. So don't think about leaving your job, guys, till you're at 10,000 a month, probably for at least 3 months. because if not, you could put yourself at risk. You can do this on the side though. Unless you're making like $11 an hour and you only make like $200 a week, then that's probably worth the risk if you're at like $5,000 a month, because you're not making that much of your job in order you'd be able to easily make that much more money phone flipping if you're making on the side. So, okay, Anthony, what do you have here?
I completely agree with David. Like, I'm doing this on the side. Like, I'm going to school. But this, it just brings in an extra couple of dollars, so it's pretty cool. So originally what I think I noticed that I messed up on was that I just kept on kind of repeating my language. I'm looking to buy a MacBook or iPad. I can buy in all conditions. I can come to you, so I live in New York City, so I like to meet with people like a very open area. So I kind of do this to just throw off hopefully them, but I don't think it works. But it's been like,
So wait, hold on one second. Let me just take a look here. So you got wanted, general community, wanted. So you have 2 MacBooks ads that could throw it off there. Also, I noticed your ads, last time you posted an ad was only September 11th. And what is today? Isn't it like the 24th or something?
Yeah, I kind of stopped posting ads because they started turning red. So I remember you had mentioned when they start turning red to stop posting, and I was kind of waiting on the group chat so I can show it to you.
Okay. Why don't you try posting in financial services? See if you can get a paid ad to stick. Let me try that.
Let's try that. Wait, where are we?
So service offered. Service offered.
No, 1 second. It's for some reason it's saying I was in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's go. Account. Go. In. Back on. Where do I go? Service offered.
So go to services offered and then financial services. And then now you want to do something like cash paid for phones and electronics, something like that. Okay, and I would capitalize the first letter of each word. There you go. Always do that on all your titles, just so you know. It looks much more professional. It reduces your chances of getting flagged, and people appreciate it more. And now let's just say I'm a reseller. We buy most phones and electronics, or I'm sorry, I buy most phones and electronics. Fast and friendly pickup. We service most of New York City, or I service most of, I travel, so I service most of New York City. Do something like that.
Yeah. Service, yeah, I service New York City. I think it's better.
I would say most of New York City or something. Now I service New York City. It sounds kind of funny like that. There you go.
Most of New York City or just?
Yep. Well, yeah, most of the New York City area. That might sound even better. And then you can say I will consider all conditions and models. And yeah, call now to get a fair price quote, or call to get a fair price quote. And then just put your phone number there.
All right, guys, don't call me.
All right, that's pretty much it. You can just wrap it up with the rest. Just continue through everything. Don't put a photo or anything. And then that's pretty much it. Let's see if we can get that ad to stick. Okay, and if that sticks, you want to just try to start posting some more ads through all categories. All right, I think it's important to start to make sure, like, don't post for a day if your ad gets flagged, but post the next day at least.
Yeah, I mean, originally I was posting in general and local news. I tried to get some stuck on wanted for a bit, and then they started coming down.
You want to look at your local area too and see like what other competitors' ads look like, and try to make sure your ads don't look like your competitors. And just try different things like this, like try a longer copy, shorter copy, and see what you can get away with as well. And let's go ahead and continue. Done with images. And then publish. Wait a minute. Why is that Tribeca weird like that? Why is that capital B like that?
Oh, it's like that. I don't know. That's how it's posted.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're good. You just got to verify it with the email, and you're all set. Looks like it was good.
Okay.
You know what's weird? It didn't charge you.
Yeah.
It's supposed to charge $5 for that section. That's strange. Huh.
Honestly, I might have an account already linked in here because I also run it for like another company.
Okay. Maybe they've already got your stuff. Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
So I might have just charged my other account. Okay. All right. Awesome. Cool. So wait. So you recommend financial services, general, community, and that's really about it, right? Those three groups. I've had a lot of responses through like Facebook ads, so that's what I've kind of been focusing on as well.
Your Facebook group post, you mean, or?
Yeah. Like posting in, I buy NYC, I buy New Jersey kind of thing.
Okay, good. That's excellent. So if you could supplement that with a lot of Craigslist ads, you can increase your business a lot, I think.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get good at the Craigslist game ad, because I'm trying to have like, I don't know, like you said, you need at least like 50 or 60.
You really need a lot of ads on Craigslist. A lot of people just don't take Craigslist seriously as they should. They put up 10 ads and they think that that's going to get a lot of deals, and you're barely going to get a lot of calls with 10. Like you need 50 to get like a decent, consistent flow of leads, because they will work really good. But you also have to get ads that get people to call. Right? Sometimes people's ads don't really catch their eye, and you have to get the ad copy right. So once you get it, though, it's amazing. Like most course members say that Craigslist is their bread and butter. That figure it out.
Yeah, no, definitely. I completely agree, because I don't know, I didn't really focus it on it much because like enough money was coming out from Facebook groups, but it's just so automated that you just literally have to click renew. So I figured, I was like, I might as well put the time into this and just keep on clicking through the renews. So yeah.
All right, guys, I've got to get going now. We got to wrap it up. It's 9:30, but I hope this was helpful for everybody on the group chat. Thank you guys for all your input on everything and sharing your stuff and volunteering. This is all helpful for the group, for you guys to put yourself out there and volunteer, so I appreciate it. I hope the text critiques was helpful and the negotiation was good for you guys. And I'll post a replay in a little bit, guys. Thanks again. I appreciate it. You guys all have a great day. Bye, everyone.